Oh, okay. Is it on silent?
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome back to Milk and Whiskey, where you're going to get a tall glass of recovery and some humor. Today, I have my mom. So, yeah, well, for everybody, can you state your name? Nicole. So, usually what I've been doing is just having people come in and kind of give me their life story, their testimony on like recovery, or if you had to have recovery, or like, I know you didn't struggle with addiction yourself, but there's people in our family that has addiction problems and issues, and although you didn't have the issue yourself, you've had to deal with people who had the same issue, including myself. Um so if you want to, I don't know, I guess give us some context of what it was like growing up, and who was the first person that in your life that had addiction or alcoholism, or how was it like?
Um I the first person, it was my oldest brother. As far as I know, it was my oldest brother, and then he was in university and he just like started using cocaine, I think it was. And then for now on, I remember my house being in a kind of chaos. And then my older brother, which is 1 year younger than me, followed through. So they both have addiction with drugs. And my whole house was,
So who's that? So Vicente and Mañe, or
yeah,
Chachi?
Manuel.
Oh, okay.
So, but the whole family was like I was kind of, now I remember that I see back, I was living a kind of like a mess in a family who was very dysfunctional, and it was just like things going every day.
Yeah.
So
And then
then I met you that.
yeah. How old were
So
you when you met him?
when I first saw him and he saw me, he was like 15 and I was like 12 in school. And then, but we reunite again when I was like almost 19. And
So he's 3 years older than you?
yeah,
Okay.
like what they call it in pre-carnivals or something. So
Okay.
he was in the same classroom than my older sister. So she saw him and she said, let's go on asking for drinks or something. So that's why he reunited. He asked for my number, and my sister gave it to him, I think, not me. And
Like a
then
cell phone number or the house
the
number?
house number,
Oh, okay.
of
Yeah,
course.
because there wasn't no cell phones, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I say a telephone number, is the house,
Oh, okay.
a
You said like, you
hardline.
asked me for our number.
Yeah, that's what I say, our number,
Oh,
which is our
no, you
house.
said he asked me for my number, but your number is all of your guys' number. So he would call the
Yes.
house and he would have to ask for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we start, like, met him again, and I dated him, and he have problem with drugs too, and I don't see it
You
as a
didn't know?
no, I didn't know
Oh, he
until
hid it
like
from you?
no, I didn't know at the beginning, but when we started like getting serious, I see him using it, and I think to me it was something new or something that I don't know, and I think that was normal for younger people to do it.
Yeah.
So since my brother were doing it, so I just like I don't see a big issue on that. So
Well, he was doing cocaine? Because
yes.
I know he didn't drink like that.
Yeah, he don't like drinking.
Yeah,
He don't like marijuana and all the thing, but he will use cocaine.
he's a
So
definite cocaine addict.
yeah.
You're like,
So
it's okay. My brother does it.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
although we have a lot of dysfunction in our family, it's okay.
I thought he's gonna rescue me from the mess.
It's
So
like,
because he was,
I want your mess. I don't want their mess.
in a way, I never saw it that way, but I thought we just gonna have a nice life together.
Mm.
So
It's like, we're going to have a whole bunch of little crack babies.
okay.
No, the, so how long did he date him before you married him, or what happened? How did it?
I married him when I was 21, so you take the
So
time
3 years after you met him
19,
again?
about 2 years.
Okay.
About 2 years. So we met, and then we have John, then we
Oh,
have,
so you had John before you got married?
no.
You said we met, then we had John,
We
and
marry, and then we have John, and
oh,
then we
okay.
have, and then we
So
came
you had him, John. John is what? Like, so you got married, and then how old were you when you had John?
about the same age, 21.
Oh, okay.
And then we trying to leave the country because, our country was in a big mess with the drug terror or whatever, narco terrorism.
That's when Pablo Escobar was bombing places, right?
Yeah. And the El Cartel de Cali. So we went to Venezuela, and that's when they have the problem with Hugo Chavez there. And then actually, I lived there over there when he tried to take over the government. It was
You
on at the
you lived there?
yeah, it was on 27th of February 1989. So we were then there. All they closed the borders, and we don't know how to go back home. And it was about 2 months, 2 or 3 months. And then it's funny, they open it to go back who wants to live on April 19, which is your birthday.
Okay.
And then that's I told him, I said, I am going to be the first one to put a foot in the bus to go back home. And I did.
Yeah.
So we went back home, and I told him, let's just go back to New Jersey. And I got pregnant with Nicole in
Hold on, wait, hold
Venezuela.
on. You're going way too fast. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you lived in Venezuela,
I got
right?
pregnant with Nicole.
You got pregnant with Nicole while you were in Venezuela.
Yes.
So you said, let's go to New Jersey.
Better. Yeah. To have a better
Okay.
life.
Oh, okay. So, because I thought you said, let's go back to New Jersey. You said, let's go to New Jersey to live a better life.
Yes.
Okay. And how did you guys get to New Jersey? Did you guys apply for a visa or?
Yes.
And
We
then-
have to go back to Colombia to apply for a visa, then to
Okay.
come here. We cannot do it through a third or
And how
second
did that
country.
happen? Did you guys? So did you get the approved or what?
Yeah. Yeah, because he was a really good friend of the governor of our city, and then he
So
kind of
then
helped us.
how come John told us? He told me that we got here, we snuck on a plane or something.
Because that's the way it happened. It
What?
happened.
So how the hell did you get approved for a visa and had to sneak on a plane?
We don't sneak in a plane.
No.
No, we do not.
Oh, okay.
No, we have a visa because we cannot sneak in a plane to come here, especially when I was already 8 months pregnant.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is like your dad has, your mom actually, mom's dad has a friend who
You mean
owns,
my dad's mom?
yeah,
Okay.
she have friend with somebody who's owns the company who bring flowers to America. So
Okay.
he always like get people to fly into this thing. They're supposed to have a crew, and then they don't have a crew. They just have people, family members who wanted to come here, and they just put it in there, and we just come here,
Oh, so
and then we don't have to pay for the
a free
ticket.
flight.
Free flights.
You
Yeah,
had
but
the
it was
visa, so you didn't necessarily sneak into America.
no,
Oh, okay.
no, we don't. No, we just
Because
came.
John made it seem like you snuck into America. I'm
No,
like,
I can't do that because don't. Well, the thing
I'm
is,
like,
like,
I thought to myself, I'm like, you guys, like, had in my mind, I thought that because of my dad's uncle that was in the Air Force, he snuck you guys onto an airplane, but
No,
no. Oh,
no,
okay.
I
Well,
never actually.
so
I met that uncle only
this is
like
why I should
once.
ask you these questions and not John, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You should get your own story from me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he snuck on a damn cargo
Mm.
plane.
No, the plane was full of. The thing is, like the
That
plane
was
was full of flowers,
okay. So
and it's
then,
a cargo plane.
so I know whenever you come to America, they let you come in pregnant.
Nobody knew that.
How do you're 8 months pregnant? You're 8 months or 8 weeks.
8 months.
You're just like, oh, she's just fat.
Yeah, kind
That's
of, kind of because I don't make a lot of the big belly. My biggest belly was you.
okay.
So Nicole's belly was just actually smaller than John's.
She was more of a crack baby.
No, she was smaller. Not a crab baby stuff. Not a crab baby, like smaller. She was
Oh, okay.
smaller, very small. This all the three, she was the tiny one.
Okay.
So we came here, and then it's funny because when the pilot find out that I was pregnant, he says there is a lot of turbulence in the back because it's a cargo. It's not regular plane.
Yeah.
So he said, "Come and sit with us in the cabin." And
Okay.
I consider it one of the most beautiful experiences in my life because I saw how they fly an airplane when we were flying over the ocean, when we passed through Cuba, and then when they land, they position the airplanes to land. And it's
Mm.
just a very nice
Yeah, it
experience.
is fun. I've got to fly with my friend Tess. You know, one day after church, she took me and Righteous up on her
Mhm.
airplane. That was fun. She also let me drive too. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah, and we did this one thing where it was free, like zero gravity, where like you just like kind of let go the engines and then you just like kind of go down, nosedive a little
Mm.
bit, and you're just like free falling in the cabin. Righteous was like, ah,
Now, yeah, it's nice.
yeah,
And
but
it's funny because I think the pilot he said, "Come to me." He was like, "Just stick always to me. They're probably gonna think you're my wife or something."
uh,
So he actually is the one who told me, "Give me your passport," and then I passed it to him. He went over there, and then we passed it. He's like, "You you're already here." So they took me to the international airport because you come to a different airport. So they they took me in a little van to the international airport in Miami. And then I called my sister, and that's how she picked me up.
uh,
So 2 weeks later, I was flying to New Jersey.
so Roche was already here,
Yeah, she was already here, and I couldn't
and then
stay
you,
in Miami because we don't have place to stay. So I have a friend who told me she was waiting for me in New Jersey. So she
mm,
said, "Just come here." And I remember on the night of my due day, I was in a plane to go to Newark.
okay, and
So.
then you had Nicole over there,
Mhm.
and you were there for
About 2 years, almost a year and a half.
what made you want to move?
Because John got really sick because we're like, we're coming from the tropic, and Jean Claude was like really sick, and he went into a hospital for like 10 days, and the
Uh,
doctor, I remember the
was our
doc.
dad using drugs this whole time?
No, no, he don't use drugs since like 1 or 2 months before we come here. No,
Uh,
he don't use it all this time until we move over here in
and
Kissimmee.
he behaved the whole time.
In a way, it was, yeah.
Oh. And then you guys came down to Miami, and after you were pregnant with me, for how long?
After
Were you?
Andrew,
No,
like,
no, you were pregnant with me, right? In
yeah.
New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and then you moved down to Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was born, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I
And
mean, at least I know that much.
and after Andrew is when he decided to move the whole house here,
So
and
wait, hold on. So I was about a year old when Hurricane Andrew hit, and Hurricane Andrew was one of these hurricanes that leveled Homestead, right? It destroyed, for those who don't know, this hurricane hit Miami pretty hard. And where were we living at that time?
It's like about, I think Burt Road or something like
No, but I'm saying, like, were
that.
we living in a house, an
In an
apartment?
apartment around the center, close to Coconut Grove.
Was the apartment
Damage, yeah.
how bad?
Not that bad, but bad enough not to live in there.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I had this whole different picture of what had happened. I thought we were living in a house and we only survived because we went to a bathroom and put a mattress over our head, and then we came out and the house was gone. That's what I imagined.
no.
It wasn't like that.
No, we went to a closet. We went to a closet. I having you because you're the tiny one. I having you with me, and you have Nicole and John. We went to in the closet, and that's when we stayed there. I guess we fall asleep actually, and then just like we wake up and the whole thing was damaged and it was gone, and that's it. So we just
So
knew.
my dad didn't do any drugs in Miami either.
No, no that I know of.
Oh, okay. And we moved up to where first? To Kissimmee?
We moved to a place that somebody who's Cuban told him that he's gonna move us to the best place in all Florida. It's called Pine Hills.
No.
I didn't know that.
Uh,
So when I see the whole thing, I mean, we live over there for 8 months, and I got crazy. I put all the house in the stores, and I was gone to Miami again. So
you were like, I don't want to live around all these people.
no, it's not that. It was very dangerous, and I
Uh,
think Jean Claude was the only
he was the only white kid in
in the
school.
entire school.
Uh,
And
he's like,
he was kind of scared sometime, and but sometimes he come back to the house with spit on his head and with
spit on his
guns.
head.
Yeah, because I guess kids they were not used to a child like him.
Okay.
So
They were like, what's this cracker doing here?
so so when I went and then we moved to Kissimmee, that's when I started with him, and then like probably like a year later or something is when I started seeing him. I don't know what he was using, but I know he was hanging out with some people.
Who's he?
My ex, your dad.
Okay.
He
So,
was hanging out with people from New York.
okay. So,
And the police were just like probably monitoring these people because there were things going on in the school. Like the kids were stealing money from the teachers or something because they asked me. The teachers asked me. I said, "Do you know these people?" Are like, "No." And then like, "Well, some." And then I celebrate Jan's birthday, and I saw the kids trying to go in, sneak into his room to try to steal something from his room. So I kicked them out. And he started hanging out more with these people, and that's when I see that he was.
so there were people hanging out with our dad,
They were
and
probably gang member or
they were
people.
trying to sneak into. They were coming in and out of the house all the time.
No, it was just a birthday. And then I guess those people they were training the kids to take stuff from people or
Oh, they were
something.
teaching them how to pickpocket people.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I told him I'm not gonna hang out with these people. Just don't do it. I mean, he was hanging out with them behind our back, my back, I
uh,
guess. But I think that's the one he started using drug because he would go home violent. He will break stuff in the house, and I called the John. Actually, John, the one who called the police. I never did. John is the one who called the police, and the police go there. They say "Hey, we cannot arrest him because he's not here." They can see the entire house with lamps stuff broken and stuff, and they say it can do anything. So
mm,
just like I don't see a fit in there. So
yeah. So then, at what point did you guys separate, and why?
it was during this time that I just decided that I think he kind of put our life in risk because of these people. And that's what I says. I have to get out of this. And I remember the
Mm,
last time my dad came, then when he saw the whole thing, he says, one of you have to assess is one is I don't know how right he was until I start joining these groups. And he says if somebody one is actually sick or not doing the right thing and the other one have the sense and you know what he's doing is incorrect, you need to get out of there and try to go on with your life and the kids, and that's you. It took me about 6 more months to figure it out that it was me that I have to get out of there and try to save my three kids and provide what I probably can call a better, safe life for all you three. And that's
okay.
how I did.
And
So
and then once you left, how quickly did he leave the country?
I know he was in Miami for a couple time for 1 year or something, a year and a half. Because I put my divorce through what they call in legal aid, and then it took a year for them to finalize the divorce. And since he never responded, I got all full custody of you three. So he after I guess he I got divorced from him here 6 months later, I think that's when he went back.
Oh, okay. And
So
how did he get back?
I don't know. Somebody told me he went back in a regular plane, and then he told me later that I'm
I didn't.
talking to him now. He told me that he went back through the same way we came, but this time he said his uncle sneaked him to get him out.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what he told me. He said
Yeah,
he left with nothing, with
yeah,
a shirt on his back,
yeah.
and he told me that the reason why he left was because these cops were coming after him and asking him for money. They were like, "Oh, give me this money," and they weren't giving you the money. I was like, "Oh, you're talking about child support," and I know how child support works. I'm like, they were definitely gonna give you the money, you know.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
know
why
the
I don't
part.
know why he thought that I was just like he thinks I'm just dumb and I don't know nothing. I'm like, no, that's not how the system works.
Well, I offer him the last time before our final divorce. I told him I don't want it. I actually told the attorney I don't want no child support because I told him he's not gonna pay for it
Yeah, well,
and he's
the
gonna
child support
leave.
is mandatory.
That's what the attorney says. He says since he said we have to stipulate put some kind of money in there because the judges say we cannot leave it in blind because when those kids grow up they can come after me and say why you never stipulate child support, so they put the least amount of money he can the judge can grant it to somebody. So it was like $387 for three kids a month, which I think is nothing. And I
Yeah,
told him, I say I don't want it, and I told him I can take
it
it.
was only $386
It
per
is
kid, or
for all three.
what the hell? Well, yeah, because back then it was a lot less money that was able you were able to accrued. So yeah, 300 back then for three kids was you might as well have been 900 or 1,000 now, right? Something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Because how much money were you making? Like how much money could you make in a month back at what it was 1994, 95, right?
hmm
How much
I
money?
was making $4.17 an hour, so
Okay, so
times
three.
40.
You might as well have said $1,000,000 when you said $300. How much money was he
Um,
making?
Nothing. He said he don't work, and then he say it doesn't matter. We have to put some kind of money there, and that's they come out with that idea with
Yeah,
that money.
yeah,
So
because you're the potential to work. That's what they called it. Because just because you're not working doesn't mean you don't pay child support. It means that they factor in how old you are and what your abilities are and how much you could, minimum. That's what they factor in. Like, we know the minimum wage is this, so you got to be able to at least pay this. So then you have to get a job. And like, because I guess they were forcing him to actually work. He was
Yeah.
like, fuck these kids.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
And that's what they say. The judges say he have to eat, so he find money to eat
Yeah.
or to pay where he lives. So he's making some kind of money, so they have to put some money there. And I'm telling you, they come out with the least amount of money they can put in there, and he still don't want to pay. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
mean, I get that. I mean, I wouldn't want to pay child support if I don't have any rights or time with my kids. Like, I'm not going to pay and I don't get to see my kids. Good luck.
it was never denial for
I
to
know,
see it.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's where that's where his mind was at because
Yeah,
I spent 7 months with him in Colombia, and I asked him all these questions too. So like, I know exactly where his mind was. Is like, oh, she was keeping me from you guys, and you know, and they were making me pay, and I never got to saw you guys, and she was saying this, and I was saying that, and I told him, I said, I don't care what happened. Like, in all reality, the fact is that you should have never left. But I think that it was actually more of a blessing that he left than staying, because I'd rather no father than a bad father. That's what I think,
yeah.
you know.
It's you going through what they call it because they still make you have those classes when you get in divorce. They told him he can start visiting supervise, and then after that it was being taken out. He can see it, and I told him all I need you is for you to stay and help me with them. And I remember you guys, Jan used to go play soccer, and then all these people they were playing soccer, they knew how he was because he displays some kind of behavior, and then you go into this post-traumatic thing that you have faced in life with 3 kids. And sometimes I was in the soccer practice, and my mind would go away, and then people will ask me and say, what happened, what he don't have? I say, I don't know. And then I remember one lady came to me and he says, oh, Nicole, I'm going to tell you something. It's better if they don't have a father figure, is the father figure is not good for them to grow up with. And that's kind of relieved me a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but Jan used to suffer a lot with that. He used to tell me, I can't believe my father preferred to be somewhere in the world different and close to us. Jan, when he was little, he used to go through all that a lot. So,
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has trauma with that whole situation, living in the type of violence that he told me that he lived, about, like, the story about him putting eggs in putting eggs in your hair, and then you continue to make him eggs and serve him eggs with eggs in your hair. It's like, that's crazy, you know? Like, what went through your mind whenever that happened, and how did
I
it
don't know.
happen?
I just want him to eat breakfast so he can go.
Who?
You're, you're dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but then what happened? So you cooked him breakfast or what?
He eat breakfast and he go.
Yeah, but then why did he put the eggs in your hair?
I don't remember much what happened, but I
Did you
guess
block that out of your
it's not
mind?
that she is probably he will make he was already, like I say, he probably was already using drugs. And well, when they start having the withdrawal, people become aggressive, and then I will do something that he won't like.
Do you remember him ever being abusive towards you or John?
Of course, yeah, all the time. Verbally more than like domestic violence doesn't have to mean the person will hit you. People will hit you with words.
Okay, so he never actually hit you.
A couple times.
Okay,
Mm,
and he did he ever actually hit John
yes.
or Nicole?
No, Nicole.
Okay,
No, Nicole. He would just don't have patience with them, and he would just squeeze the stroller like this and move her when she was a baby. And then I remember when
like
we
give her
live
shaky baby shit him or
something like that. So I remember when I live in New Jersey, one lady told me don't leave the baby with him because the he don't centri he don't have patience, and he just shake the stroller. And Nicole, I remember when I one time in New Jersey, I went to buy some milk and it was cold, and I was like, let me just go grab the milk and come back. And he was in the car with Nicole. When I come back, Nicole was screaming and crying, and he's scared. I don't understand what she's doing. And Nicole, as soon as I grab and he jumped on me like this, and he didn't want to let me go. And I was like, I guess Nicole was scared of him or something. So after that period of time, I never leave you, any of you three, with him by itself.
uh
So
yeah. So he left, right? And yeah, I know that like you pretty much raised us by yourself,
yes,
and you've had other people in your life outside of him, right? That like boyfriends or whatever. Any of them have? I remember one guy, Robert, right? Is that his name or
yeah, Roberto.
yeah? He has alcoholism, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met him through his dad because I was working with his dad.
Yeah, yeah. I remember him briefly. Like the only thing I remember from him was like that he smoked a lot of cigarettes and he cleaned our room one time, and then one night he showed up drunk and like pissed or threw up somewhere that you had to clean up the couch, and then the next day he was gone and I never saw him again.
Yeah, Nicole is the one who wake me up. She's like, Mommy, I think Robert is sick because he's throwing up. So I remember then I wake up and okay, you guys ready? And we left. And I told him, when I come back, I don't want to find this mess here. And then me is gone.
Yeah. Did you ever find that guy?
Yeah,
What happened to him?
I don't know. He disappeared.
Okay.
He disappeared for a long time. And then I met her when I was working in the courthouse.
So
And
he's back here?
yeah, I don't know where he's at, to be honest
Oh,
with you. So,
okay.
but this is a part of my life that I don't want it to remember.
Well, we will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it, right? That's what we say in recovery.
I guess, yeah.
And so I know that I started using about 12 or 13, and very quickly I was in and out of jail, right? After I started. And how was it like for you, on the other side of like having to show up for me to court, and like what was their thought process like? And I know you couldn't just like get rid of me like anybody else. You couldn't just kick me out. So it was definitely a different experience, right? Because you've dealt with other people with alcoholism and addiction, and you were able to essentially either put them out of your life or keep them away from you and us. But then whenever it touched me in in my life, right, you couldn't just run away from it or put me out, right?
No, it's It was my responsibility because you were underage, so I have to show up to court.
Well, technically, oh yeah, yeah, because oh yeah, that part was your responsibility. Me breaking the law, right?
My responsibility was to be there because they judge all the time when they have a juvenile or a person on the age, they always ask for the parents
Yeah.
because then you become in probation, and when you become in probation, you go into the loop, you and the parents. So back then, they don't put charges on the parents when the kids break probation. I remember when you get out of the whole mess. I remember in Valencia, I met this lady who was in probation and because her daughter would keep breaking the law. She said they make a law because when the kids break probation, they used to put charges on the parent. Now they decide to do because some parents cover for the kids.
Oh,
So
okay.
I thanks God I never passed through. I never had that because
Well, they would have to be able to prove that the parent was covering for the kid, no? Or because like you can't. I know you
well,
can parent your kid, but ultimately, that individual, if they choose to make their own decisions as a juvenile, aren't they still responsible and like?
I remember I asked the lady the same question. I said, "How did they know you don't?" He said, "Well, she sneaked out when she sneaked out of the house after the hours of
Oh,
curfew. She's supposed to call the police, and she didn't."
like what you should have done. Whenever
Yeah.
I used to sneak out.
When Jan make me do that one time, and it's funny because when he make me call the police one time, the police was all congratulating me how I'm doing the right thing and all this, and they just find you and they put it in down and nothing happened. And as I told Jan, see, so
You put me in a room and then I close the door and then jump out the window.
and that's what I said. I mean, it's like I said,
Yeah.
there is not much. It's like a game, and when this system is not helping the parents, and then it's like covering for don't try to break the kids' rights, what they call it. Because I remember one time I went to the court and this lady, her son keep doing this, and the court did not do anything. And I remember the lady says, "I want you to let me go and find out my son, and please put him in juvenile." And the lady did because he said, "I am tired. He's sneaking out, and nobody do anything. No, the court,
Yeah.
nobody." And then
Let him just do the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and then she went and found his somewhere in Orlando, and then the kids went to the whole system because she says, "I trying to save my son," and the system don't help me because the court don't want to break their kids' right, and then it's just like you're going to steps.
And and being in juvenile hall is like, or juvie, it's not like they actually, like, okay, it's a correctional facility, but there is no correction. The only correction there is if you get in a fight, or I'm like, they're not like actually teaching you life skills in there. Like
Mm.
you're just in jail as a kid, and you fight and you have to fend for yourself and you have to, because they fight more in juvie than they do in actual jail. I know I've gotten in way more fights in juvenile hall than I ever did as an adult being locked up. Like I never got in any fights as an adult, and I got in a whole lot of fights in juvie. You know,
Mm. See, I don't know that.
yeah, I used to fight all the damn time in juvie. We used to always end up having. I had to like sleep almost like on edge sometimes because of if I pissed somebody off or if like something happened. Like that one time I did 6 months in that program, they put us in a cottage and all the doors were open. Like there was no locked doors. Like, and if I pissed somebody off, I would wake up with somebody punching me in the face, you know?
Wow.
And like I had to wake up fighting and shit. And that shit fucking and or if we had a problem and like there was certain guards that whenever they were on shift, if you had a problem with somebody, you tell them, "Hey, you got to go to the room," and you had to go fight them in a room. Like that's how we got to be able to fight and get over our problems without extending our time. So yeah, I mean, the one time that I almost got my time extended was because I ended up with a big black eye, but it was like right at the end, and we both made up. We like shook each other's hand because we had the same case manager, and she was like, "You guys are cool, right? You guys don't want to press charges on each other because if we do, then you guys are both gonna be extended. You're leaving in 2 weeks, and you're leaving." She looked at me, "And you're leaving in a month. Do I really have to put this on paper?" And we just looked at each other and shook each other's hand. We're like, "Nah, we're good."
Yeah, because I remember one of the lady want you to be extended for some reason. I don't know. So,
Yeah,
but the case manager said no. He said
yeah.
no.
You know, it's funny though too. Is like I ended up stealing his blanket that he was.
The blankets that I still have in the house.
Yeah, the blanket that he used to have. Yeah, I ended
He
up.
ended up in Phil's house.
Oh, okay.
And Phil gave it to me one day. I went to his house. I was like, "What is that thing doing over here? I've been looking for that thing forever." And he like, "It's yours, go."
Yeah. Yeah, I stole it rightfully, so it's mine. You know, but yeah, no, that I still think to myself like now that Righteous is 13, I think to myself a lot too. I'm like, you know, that saying like you won't ever truly know what it was like for your parents until you're going through it as a parent. You know,
Hmm.
like I can't even imagine what or how I would react if Righteous was going through this or doing exactly the same thing I was doing to you, to me, you know? And I'm like, and I tell him, I'm like, hey, you won't miss if you don't ever try it. You don't miss whatever you don't know, you know? So like, and I talked to him about alcoholism and addiction and what it's like and what it feels like. And I tell him, I'm like, all right, so let's look at it like with sugar because he has a problem with sugar and eating. I'm like, are you capable of, let's say, eating dinner and having a dessert like some ice cream or and cake, and then we go home, and if I say, hey, on the way home, you want to stop by and get some more ice cream and cake, are you able to eat that then too? And then like an hour later, get some more ice cream and cake? Are you able to eat that at any time of the day? And whenever you eat sugar or cookies, like, do you find yourself unable to control the amount you actually eat? And he's like, yeah.
He said that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, that's exactly what it feels like whenever you have an addiction problem, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, you're most likely, if you ever try any drugs or any alcohol, would have that same experience, but it's like magnified by 20, right? And then it's a lot more expensive, and you're driven by this thing to like steal from your mom, like I did, you know, steal from me, and or steal from anybody or break the law to consume this substance, you know, and like I I can do all the warning and put up all the warning signs. I can give them all the lectures. I can give them all the advice in the world. But ultimately, he would always have to make his own decision on whether he would want to ever try that, you know, and it scares the shit out of me, you know, because I know what brought me here was ultimately you finding Al-Anon, and like it's part of my story. Like I share it at Park Place all the time. Like my mom, I showed up and my mom said, "Don't come back here because I'm planning your funeral." And that, like, I never understood that until now, like, or until recovery, right? Like, I'm like, you're planning my funeral, and I would think to myself, I'm like, this fucking bitch, I just need $20. Doesn't she know that I need to smoke crack?
Mm.
That's what I thought to myself whenever I was neck deep in my addiction, right? I never like considered what you went through not knowing how to help me. The helplessness, and the pain and having to live that life, right? Like doing everything you can to keep us away from abusive people, and also
It's okay, son. It's okay.
and I'm treating you like shit. I've treated you like shit most of my life. And you don't know how grateful I am for you.
I'm glad you say that. I am happy. I'm glad you say that and you feel it. A mother always will love a child, no matter how old the child is. And you kind of live few times the fear that I have with you.
What?
When I remember when you called me and you told me one of the friends that you drop off die on overdose that night, he said it would be okay. You call me crying, telling me all that, and it's just like the fear a parent feel when a child, one of their kid is in drugs, and then when friends relapse, and you have the fear that it's gonna die, and it's the same fear but 100 times worse. And I know, like I says, there is no sin or no action that a parent cannot forgive to their kids. And I know you treat me badly many times, and I forgive you for that long time ago when I realized that this situation that you have, it was not a you choice, is a disease. When I learned all that, when I start have more compassion toward you, and I learned that I really thought that I was hating you for the way you treat me, but that was not what it
Well, you
was.
you
It
don't
was,
know what you don't know, right?
yeah.
And at that time, I just didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't know that I was just looking for a solution for a problem I didn't know I had.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. When you go to Al-Anon and you learn all this, like this is a disease. It's like I said, you have more compassion towards somebody who's dying by cancer or somebody who had diabetes or any other disease. And then you have compassion towards somebody who have an addiction because it's an incurable disease, like some like diabetes and some kind of cancer. So like if the person is sick, even with a small flu, is excused not to attend any place or church or any events. It's excusable if the person is sick with the flu, but if the person is sick with addiction and is in the house, drunk or high, you don't find excuse for it. And it should be excused because this person is sick.
Yeah, I
Like I said,
mean, in recovery, we have two alternatives, right? One is to go on the best we can, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable situation, right? You know, to me that or seek spiritual help, and to me that looks like me continuing on living a miserable existence, never knowing my true potential, what God has called me to do, you know, and all throughout my life, I remember people telling me they're praying for me and then like God has a calling for me and God has something for me to like that he wants me to do. And I'm like, what is it? You know, what is it? And coming into recovery and all of the circumstances that has happened in my life needed to happen in order for me to relate to everybody who has been through whatever I've been through and whatever you've been through and experience it and live it and know it and talk about it and like I'm uniquely qualified to help another alcoholic or an addict because of my situation. And I know I can sit in front of a room of people who are inflicted with the same disease and ask them, have you ever felt like I don't want to live, but I don't want to die? And they all shake their head. Like, or feel like there's no way out, like you're a slave to this thing, that you're going to always do this thing. And no matter what happens in your life, this will always be a part of your life. And they're like, yeah, like being clean and sober seems like a fantasy. And when you're living in it and you have the mental defect of the obsession, right? You can be on a spiritual hilltop at one point and then the next day not even have a bad day. You can just have a perfect day and be like, I feel so good. This is going to make it better, like, or I'm feel so bad. This is going to make it better. Or I'm not feeling anything at all, but this is going to make it better, you know? And, trying to be a hope for God's children, right? And I always say to addicts and alcoholics, I'm like, I don't believe any one of us have a problem with God, you know, or believing in God. I mean, there are some atheists. I know that there are some atheists and who came to believe, but the main problem is we wanted to be God because we wanted to be able to control the situation. And the only way we felt any type of control was whenever we were getting high, because it alleviated us from caring whether we had control or not, and whenever I was using drugs, if I was controlling it, I wasn't enjoying it. And whenever I was enjoying it, I wasn't controlling it. Like all the things that I was willing to do and sacrifice for it. It pisses me off, but it also drives me forward. It is the wall against my back. It is the thing that keeps me moving forward. It keeps me like knowing that if I don't continue to do this thing that God has called me to do, and what it is just help his children, help his children get reconnected with him, and whatever it may look like through my experience and other people's experience. That is why I chose to, have this podcast is like it's a platform for people to come share their testimony and share their story. So like not everybody would be able to relate to me, but they can relate to you or to my buddy Sean or anybody else who has been on here, and I know like well, let me ask you, like, so I got sober for the first time in 2017, went a year and 8 months, and then relapsed, and then came back after a couple months. How has it been the last almost 7 years now, for you, knowing that I've been sober?
It's been a relief that you're not using drugs because, like I says, like AA people or addict or people who's active in the drugs have to touch bottom. In Alano, we do too. We touch bottom, and that's what I decided start enabling you. What is cutting the comfort zone that you have to keep doing, and that's what I says. The way I did it, I think it was kind of little rough, and it was not what we call it detachment with love. And we just, I guess, I touched bottom really rough because I was just like done. I was just like, and then that's when like I told you, as I says, I make a piggy bank, I kick you out of the house, and I says because as a mother, when I see you, I see a human being who was dying. And I knew, I played God. I knew, I said, he's going to die and I have to be ready for this. And I remember all the time I see you, I always take a picture with my cellular with you. I make the piggy bank. And
so you made a piggy bank for what?
Well, because it's like I say, when you relapse, like I tell Phil, I say, I cannot abandon my son because when is
You had a
he,
physical piggy bank?
yeah, this not was big. It was just like a big, a thing that I bought in the Dollar Tree something. Then I put
So
money in there
it was a bank for what?
to bury you.
Oh.
Because I knew in my sick mind that you're going to die. And then I make this piggy bank and I put it, and I actually went to find out how much was cremation. I went to the Catholic Church because that's how I grew up, and I went over there, and it hit me out when I I went to the Catholic Church and I told the lady I need to prepare a mass for my son and she said, okay, when do your son die? And well, he's not dead yet. And I remember the lady looked at me really like with an odd thing. I was like, well,
She's like, "Are you gonna kill him?"
No, I guess
That's
she
what I
thought
would
it's
have. That's what I would have thought. It's like,
I don't
"Oh,
know.
you're gonna kill him?" Like,
She don't ask questions. She probably told you we're having a cancer or something. I said, well, just come back. It's a healing mass. It's okay, but it's not. It's just come back when he's not here. She don't use the word dead. She said when he's not here anymore. So that's when I find out. I was like, oh my God, I'm really out of my mind. So I remember I went to that church, and I went to the corner in that church, and the last part in the church I remember, and I lay down over there, and I sitting down, I start praying and crying and crying and crying, and I keep telling God, do something. I don't know what to do. It's on you. You give it to me. It's not mine anymore. It's always been yours, and take it back and do something with life. And I don't remember how long I was there, but I remember I ended up myself on the floor crying like a baby in like a fetal position, crying because I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't want to keep living through that, and that's what I says. And I remember like a couple probably days later, this one on May 6th. I never remember because it was the day before my birthday, when I was in one of the Al-Anon conference, and then you called me, and then you said, oh, somebody's gonna kill me for this. I remember I was with a friend of mine, and he said, I have to go. And she said, well, Nicole, this thing already is Saturday, it's started. I said, I have to go. I say, you find somebody who can take you, or you coming with me now. So we left. And then I came back, and that's when I find out, and I was like, what happened? And you told me this lady say she's gonna kill me. She put a knife on my stomach or something, and they don't let me take my stuff. I said, well, just let's go. And I remember we went to this place and went over there, and I told the guy he needs to take his stuff out. He's not coming back here anymore. And that's when you told me, he said, when you were taking your stuff out, um, the lady's daughter was there with her baby, and they were drinking and smoking, and that was a horrible situation that I see. I was with my mom, and then the lady came to me. She said, oh, you have a horrible son. He smoked weed. He's and this, and that. And then I look at her and I says, and then what are you doing in front of your daughter? And she's
Mm.
like, well, but that's my life. I said, I'm going to tell you one thing. I says, where is your mother? Your mother threatened my son's life. Your mother says she's going to kill my son for $20 or weed or something. Go get your mother and tell her to bring the knife. And before he kill my son, she needs to pass through me. And I told her, he needs to. And then I remember my mom was scared. Like, what do you say? Why do you say that? That lady should come and kill you. Like, she was not even there. And when I told her, I says, I know what my son is doing. I know what it is. But I says, that is, she gonna kill my son for $20. Tell her she needs to kill me first. And then when I say that to that girl, she was a younger girl, and she just turned around. She's like, oh, my conversation with you is over. So my mom was scared. He said, oh my God, I was so scared. I said, don't worry, nothing's gonna happen. Then you come back. I said, let's just go. And then I remember you told me that you need to, mom, take me somewhere, all those groups that you're going, because it's not, I'm gonna die. I'm tired of this. And then I called. I remember we went to Park Place. She said, it's not suicide. You cannot take it. I don't know what to do. And then I called the 1-800. And it was on a Saturday. And then it was around 8 o'clock, and she said, well, somebody's there. I said, it's 8 o'clock. It's like, go to that place. It's called the Wayside Club. She gave me the address. I think I went one day with Lorena one time. Remember Lorena, John's ex-girlfriend, said, I think I know what it is. Then I went over there, and I said, somebody is there. And they having a meeting. Back then, they having a meeting. I think it started around 7, and they finished around 8:30. It's a Saturday. And then I said, let's go and see. Then we were scared, and then I went over there, and I opened the door. It was there, and I told you they are there, and you went inside there. And my mom said, what we do? I said, let's just go home and cook and wait for him. And then I cook, and it was like already almost 9 o'clock or 9:30. I said, let's just go back and see. He's still there, and I guess you were talking to Tom, I think. Tom, that
I don't
night.
remember.
So I guess you got the big book that night. And then that's how you start going into this group, the AA. That's how we went. And I remember I was just kind of mad because I was like, oh my God, tomorrow is my birthday and this is what I'm doing on my birthday. And then when you relapse, I realized that you were giving me a gift, the gift of recovery right before my birthday, because after that is when you know the program, even though you relapse, and I guess you relapse God used it because part of recovery is relapsing the first 5 years of when people joins the program. So I
I don't know about
remember
all that, but sure.
that's what I got so mad when I told the lady, yes, and said, Nicole, but it's okay. I said, not okay for relapse. No, it's supposed to be perfect. It's that you're going through the same step. It says it can be relapsing can be used as a tool or as a way to teach you something. So pay attention to what
Well,
happened
it was just humbling
for
because
you, yeah.
yeah,
But to me, it was a way the way I explained it, like I said, the way I learned, it was like for me to do it in the right way because it's like I said, the
yeah,
first time I did it, I remember you remember I throw you almost everything, you close everything outside the apartment. And this time I remember I was living with my friend over there by Lakeside, and
yeah.
she says,
You know, we talked about. Sorry to cut you off, but we talked about like me and Sean talked about like you had to hit a bottom, but like for me, I've hit bottom plenty of times, and whenever I came back from a relapse, it it was never really a bottom that I hit, and, and it was just the choice, like as much as I didn't want to do it, right? I'm the person that doesn't want to work the program, but does it because I have two alternatives. I'm like, I made the decision that I'm going to do everything in my power to never smoke crack or do any drugs ever again, right? So I could say, yeah, I wish I can be like, yeah, I hit bottom and then I rose. It was like, no, I hit bottom years ago.
mhm.
I just chose to stop digging. I I chose to just put down the shovel, you know. I put down the shovel and then picked up a pen and chose to work the steps. And it's still like that to this day. Like whenever I go to Park Place, it's still like that. I go and I'm like, hey, and the the book or the preamble says some of you may like this program or you may not, and I'm like, that's me. I am the person that does not like the program, but I still like the benefits, so I continue to work the program because my life, like I know from your perspective, is like, oh, I finally get to have a relationship with my son, and like I get to see him healthy and growing and being a father in his kids' lives, and your grandkids' lives. But for me, it's like I finally get to live a free life, a free man, because I've been a slave my whole life, you know. As like whenever I can relate to that movie Flight a lot
Mhm.
because I understood whenever he said that whenever he was locked up is whenever he felt the most free because he was free of addiction, like he didn't have to live a slave to this substance. And whenever I was locked up, I felt that. I'm like, the freest I ever felt was whenever I was locked up and before recovery. That's why like I try to get locked up before uh, I came into the program. But then like I came to realize that's why I didn't want to go to rehab. And for those who don't know, I didn't go to a rehab. I didn't go to a regular detox. I got sober, clean and sober, homeless living in one of my friend's house that's in the program. I was living on his couch with no job, no car, no nothing, and I got sober. And God gave me a life to live.
For a family is to me have been a relief. It's been a relief that you not only are in the program and that you are clean and have a commitment to stay that way. To me, it's a relief that you have find a purpose in
Yeah.
life. You find a church.
My
Uh,
purpose is to
uh,
be of service.
yeah, and it's like I said, God. It's like I said, I people have to have purpose in life in order, especially people who's dealing with addiction because they kind of lost. And if they find a purpose, it's a blessing. It's a blessing not only for you and the people you're going to help, but for the family. Because, like I said, when it's a person who relapse, it's always a mother who's praying for this person. It's a mother who's suffering. It's like I says like I said when they invited me to be a guest speaker, I always says, where are the moms? Where everybody has a mom. I see a lot of wife and partners or companion, whatever you want to call them, but I don't see a mom. But when I go into those group and I find somebody who have a problem or son have a problem, I embrace them because believe me, you can divorce from husband for anybody, but a mother can never ever will divorce or separate from her kids.
Yeah. I mean, well, in that aspect, like whenever you're talking about where are the moms, like a lot of those people that you're saying that to are like older or from a different area to where their moms probably are in a different state. So, you know,
Probably,
you
but they're
know,
not in Al-Anon.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't
they're
either.
they're in. I don't know where they're at. Well, maybe they're not in Al-Anon in this area or like any
Mm,
area near here
Probably.
because they're if Al-Anon. I mean, Al-Anon it's worldwide, right? So, and I know you guys have Al-Anon conventions, and there's definitely a lot of moms, right? Whenever you go to the
Mm,
conventions, there's
there's
moms
more,
and there's wives.
most likely their wife.
Oh yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
more wives.
Yeah. No, I don't count a lot of moms in those programs.
Maybe
No.
you should start a different program instead of Al-Anon. Call it Al-Mom. Where are the Al-Moms?
Probably because it's
Yeah,
like the thing is like
I mean,
people
there's
don't.
recovery for everything, right?
Yeah,
So
like I said, like I told you when we were coming in the car, it says when somebody goes into recovery, then it's suggested that the entire family will go into recovery. Whatever the people
yeah,
is surrounded, friends, mothers, child, friend, girlfriend,
well,
wife.
you know what I've encountered with the wife, one of the wives of a friend. Like she told me she's like, I already see a therapist. Why do I have to go and work the steps? You know, like because I suggested to her like maybe you should seek Al-Anon or like this other place. You know, she told me like, why am I always having to be the one to do the work? Why can't this motherfucker do the work? Not in those words, but just I'm saying it in my own words. But she said, why doesn't he do the work? And like, how is he even still sober? Like, well, I told her I was like, maybe he's just dry, and some people I've heard of people taking a long time to work the steps. I've heard of somebody saying that it took one of his friends 12 years to actually work the steps. 12 years of being sober, dry. I'm like, how the hell did this man go 12 years without working steps? Right? Like maybe he's just not as addicted or I guess because it is just alcohol that they were talking about. But man, crack cocaine there is no grace period. You know, like my grace period is about a nap. I get a week, and I'm like, my mind would tell me I didn't really have a problem. So, like, I had to work the steps hard and fast
Mm.
whenever I came in. If I didn't do them immediately, I wasn't gonna do it.
Well, when you said that she said, "Well, he doesn't do that work," it's like, I mean, there is something that she needs to learn, or
Yeah,
whoever the wife is something is a missing. That where what you learn in Al-Anon, you can go to 20,000 therapists the entire of your
yeah,
life. They will never teach you some kind of ways to not only deal with the alcoholism, but to being in this spinning carousel of ism, what they call it.
yeah,
So is you learn a lot of things that
yeah,
you need to stop doing in order for this person to
yeah.
go and do the program.
Yeah, what I did tell her, I'm like, it will teach you how to not enable them anymore, you know, and it'll help you with the patterns that you do that enable that person, you know. And I don't have all the answers, and I'm not always sure if I was right or not, but I'm glad that I was able to be there for them. And I know for her, and the book talks about, you know, we're going to do these things, you know, we're going to comfort the wife, we're going to have to, you know, be patient with people, and you know, we essentially become a wife to our friends, because whenever one of us relapse, we fall in the same patterns as a wife, you know, like what can we do to help this person, and like realizing that we there is nothing that we can do, you know, just be there for them and hope they get it,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
you can visit the groups, the Al-Anon too. Why not?
Who?
The people who go into the group.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
can.
guess that's a good point, but good luck trying to find
There is.
an AA who. I know that you coming to the camp, like people have told me that from you coming and going to the AA conventions and the AA conferences that we do and the camping that we do, you coming along has opened the door for them to want to like bring their mom along. So, or bring the whole family, and you know, it has, you know, like there's like this running joke about like whenever um my friends invite me to their house for a get together, they're like, now they ask me, so they it's more like so they can know how much to plan for food. They're like, all right, how many people is gonna come? If we ask Axel, we know he's gonna bring his brother, his sister, his mom, his like his whole family, right? Like it's like one year that he actually brought his grandma to, you know, he's like, Axe okay with his girl, his brother, his
Son.
three sons, his mom, and his grandma. You know, because it's not fair for other. Because if they were to do that, you know, it's not fair for other people for me to do that, because then I'm like, okay, they told me, they were like, it's imagine if every person did that, brought
Wow,
their
I get it.
brother, sister, their mom and grandma. Like how much they wouldn't have any room for the house, you know, it would have to be a very small, like, all right, we're gonna invite three people, and that those three people have to invite their whole family, and then that's to get together, right? But I had told him, you know, I said, well, in addiction, I wanted everything, like I did everything in my power to be away from my family. Like I isolated myself. So the opposite of that is the the opposite of isolation is connection. So, the opposite of addiction is connection. So I was thinking the connecting and uniting my family. I'm like, anything that I do that's out extracurricular stuff, I want my family to be involved. That's why I do invite you, and I do invite John, and I do invite any one of my family, because I choose to live like that. Has been my experience, my example. I'm like, and if you don't want me to come, and because I come as a package with me and my family, because this is a family disease, right? Then just don't invite me, and I'm okay with that. you
Yeah.
know. But there has been get-togethers where I just chose not to tell you out. It's not that I didn't want to invite you or have you come. It was just because of that rule. Like, hey, we want you there, but we don't always want you and your whole family.
Mm.
So like, I had to respect that, and like I can't, like, I have to be able to pick and choose. Like, when is it appropriate for you guys to come? When is it not necessary for you guys to come? You know, and lately, it's been easier for me to decipher when is time and when isn't time. Like, I always ask, hey, am I able to bring these people, or am I not able to? So like, just know if there's ever a time where there's a get together and you don't come, it wasn't because I chose not to tell you. It was just because of the fact that people don't always have the opportunity to bring everyone like I do, right? And if they did, it'd be an even fuller house, that the hosts don't want to have that much of a host. Like, they don't want to have to host as much as that would take to host that many people. So, you know, not every situation is called for that. So, and I understood, but
Yeah, it is. So it is okay because I understand sometimes your groups, the guys or whatever the people are in the group, they just wanted to be in with their people, like the same thing like with Alanon. Sometimes we just wanted to be us, and that's it. It's okay.
yeah,
It's not hard feelings, and you know, it's like I said, but it's difficult to engage the family into the recovery.
yeah,
It is very difficult. But like I says, in Al-Anon, we says there is a program that everybody needs it, but not everybody wants it.
yeah,
So you really need to want the program in order to. I knew I needed something because I knew something was going on with me for I know something was going on with me, and I know I went to counseling, I went to all this, and I don't find the answers there. When I went to Al Anon, I find all my answers there. I met a lot of spiritual people. I went to look inside of me, stop looking outside of me or around me. And that helped me tremendously in my life become the person that I wanted to be. You start being judgmental toward people. You start doing a lot of things what they call in shortcomings, and you just trying to live a better life and a peaceful, serenity, happy life. It's not happy all the time, but a better life than before when you're living around the mess of the addiction. So
yeah. Well, I do appreciate everything you continue to do for me. Like, help watch Josiah, and and be there whenever I need you. You know, everything that you've ever done to help and support me. And I thank God for you, and I know that you don't always. probably, I guess, feel like I'm appreciative because I don't always know how to voice that or show that, you know. But I try to show that in my appreciation by, helping you out with whatever I can, whenever I can, you know. I don't ever think that, like, whenever you ask me for help, it's a problem. I'm always just trying to find a solution, you know. So I don't feel like you should ever feel like you're burdening me with, you know, having to ask me to help you in any type of way because I want you to understand that I will be here to, you know, like if you're willing to help me at the drop of a hat, I'm still willing to help you at the drop of a hat, you know. So
Well, good to know that.
it goes both ways, you
Yeah,
know.
it's good to know that.
I mean, I've been the only person to help you move.
I know.
Like,
Yep.
how many times have I had to move
A
your stuff
lot.
in and out of storage and had no help from John or Nicole when it was just me having to move everything?
Yeah. I remember my friend Nelson say, "Oh my God, you son, all his friend he show up. They will look like crazy, but they're here helping you."
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, I appreciate you telling me that. Like you say, sometimes I feel like you or Jan don't appreciate me. Sometimes I feel. I remember the point one day I wrote. They called the invisible, like it becoming invisible. It was a moment that I felt that way. I
Yeah.
feel like I was no.
Well, just understand you talk in circles a lot. So it's not that we weren't acknowledging you, it's that you've already told us this before. Like, I'm like, why do I need to know something or resentment that you have again? Like you've already told me this story. Like you would tell me, you would go in as you would say whatever's going on. You would say that 3 or 4 times. I'm like, I heard you.
Yeah,
I
but
heard you
since
the first time.
you don't say nothing, I think you don't understand. So I have to say that
No,
again until you say
we
okay.
understand.
You don't say anything.
What are we supposed? We're just listening. You never heard it. You never thought of us just listening and letting you talk.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, she just has to say it 3 more times.
No, you just have to say we get it. You have to say the first time we get
I'm like,
it.
okay, we understood. We heard you the first 4 times. Well, that's as far as we can go for today. We can talk some more later.
Well, thank you for having me.